Hi, Brendan. Hi, all. My question is quite simple in that it's what type of examples are best suited for like your competency and values? Because the issue I'm having is finding that really meaningful example. Now, as you can tell with what I'm wearing, being in the military, it's quite awkward sometimes because we don't deal with the public so much, although we are a crown servant. So it's trying to find those interactions. Sometimes the job can be isolated as well. So you don't have many interactions with multiple people in multiple situations. It's quite tricky to find that recent but relevant experience to put into words.
So there's a couple of things. One of them is translating your world into something that makes sense to others. Like, because you're so institutionalized with the greatest of respect, but you are. And when I've done the practice sessions with people, they've been like talking about stuff and I've been listening to them thinking, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've just like got to the end and just gone, that sounded great, but I have no idea what you're on about. I haven't got a clue what you're on about. And the second big mistake is tea and medals. Anything you've done that's deserving of tea and medals. So there's an example given by, this person was actually a corporal in the parachute regiment, joining the police. It's years ago now. But I remember it because of, there's a webinar and he gave an example on one of our practice webinars where a difficult decision he'd made. It was a question about a difficult decision. And the difficult decision was about how he was taking some VIPs from A to B in some godforsaken part of the world that was war-torn. I think it might have been Afghanistan. And he came under attack. And it sounded like something from a movie, seriously. It was like, he talked about explosions and firefight. And honestly, I was like in awe of him. I was like, seriously, to me, you are Tom Cruise. He got everyone to safety. And I said, so at the end of it, I said, like, seriously, you are like Tom Cruise, but what was the actual difficult decision? And he couldn't come up with it. He's like, well, I made the decision to do this. I made the decision to do that. Share with me, were you following standard operating procedure? Well, yeah. Right, well, where was a difficult decision then?
Yeah.
You know, you didn't demonstrate the behaviours that I'm looking for. What he settled on was how he challenged his sergeant, his sergeant has said he wanted to get rid of one of the soldiers under his command because they weren't pulling the weight properly and they were struggling, get rid of him. And he stood up for the individual because he thought there's more to it and discovered that actually this individual was neurodiverse but hadn't ever been diagnosed or discovered, and stood up for the individual against the sergeant's wishes. Now, from the military that that's pretty hardcore, especially in the parachute regiment. In the Royal Navy, I think I'd probably expect more reasonable discussion. But no, not in the parachute regiment. You don't like go up against your sergeant like that. And he pissed his sergeant off to some tune. And anyway, long story short, he talked about that. He gave that as an example and the decision-making process he went through in order to make that decision. And they absolutely loved it because it demonstrated all the people skills and all the behaviors that they're looking for. And he actually said to him in his feedback, well, that was a fantastic, amazing interview. We can tell you now you've got the job. Normally we tell you people, wait 2 days and you'll get notification from us, but you've got it. That was awesome. That was an amazing interview. What we were really surprised by is we thought you were going to give loads of examples about how your time in Afghanistan and how you might have dealt with some but we're really pleased with the answers he gave. And so he passed, and he passed awesomely. So that's an issue for military with the greatest of respect. So one, making sure people understand what you're talking about. 2, no tea and medals. And 3, I suppose the key thing is making sure it is a difficult and challenging thing that you're talking about. Because as a lieutenant, I'd be expecting some leadership from you that I wouldn't be expecting from a 17-year-old that is doing their A-levels and is applying for the police constable degree apprenticeship. So everything is contextual. And for those of you watching this thinking, I'm not like a leader, an officer in the Royal Navy or anything like that. Well, it's okay. You don't have to be. If you're just 17 and you're applying to join the police, we've got plenty of our clients who we've supported through the process. And they're talking about the difficult decision might be something that they've had to do at sixth form, as a student. But everything has got context. If you gave that answer, Kenny, I'd be like, seriously, mate, you've been like several years in the Royal Navy. Is that the best you can do? And so everything is contextual. So I'd bear those things in mind. But honestly, Kenny, you know, if I spent an hour with you, you'd be like flush with ideas. Seriously, you
Yeah,
are.
so I am struggling purely because I wasn't always an officer. I've obviously worked through the ranks, so some of the stuff I've done is relevant still with leadership. And there's one example of it. I'll make this really short. One example: 9 years ago, one of my people went missing in
Oh,
South Africa.
time out, time out. Too long, too long, too long ago. 9 years ago.
Exactly, and that's what I'm struggling with. That was a really a person focused thing as well, and it really hit home because of some other things as well. And it's just one of those examples. It is a good one. It's, as I say, it's just too long ago. It's just struggling to find out that very niche one, you know, that captures them.
Right, well, listen, it's you know, call it a shameless plug, but it is.
Yeah.
You work with us on the academy program, we'd get you sorted out. There's absolutely no doubt in
Mhm.
my mind that the position you're in, and especially as if you've what do they call it, the upper yard arm? No, what's it called again?
That's what that's what I was. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I
So
wrote. Yeah.
you've been to Britannia, and it was a. Did this have a special gun room for the upper yard men and women?
Yeah.
They still
Yeah.
do that?
Still split. Yeah.
Fond memories. I spent 3 weeks at Britannia as part of my reserves training. Oh, so, do you know, I'm so part of me is really jealous because I just wonder what life would have been like if I. Anyway, you
Well,
can't.
that
You
was
can't.
that was definitely a difficult situation. 13
All
years
right.
to start with. But leave it there. Leave it there.
Yeah, we'll just park that one there. I loved it. I thought it was great, especially the bee stings that you get. I was like, you know, anyway, whatever. People might be watching this thinking the bee stings. That sounds a bit inappropriate. No, it's like anyway, you'll get them in the police. Actually, you might not anymore. I don't know.